Good day, my loving, underprivileged students of India and abroad. I'm back in another digital free educational video. In this video, we will discuss about your long reading book, The Diary of a Young Girl, for syllabus in CBSE class 10. These question answers will help you in being confident and able to answer very nicely in the coming board exams of CBSE. Today we'll discuss in this video about a question of the relationship of the two sisters with their parents. The question goes, what problems do Margot and Annie face with regard to the way their parents treated them? The most likely answer for this will be to start with like this. The difficult relationship with mother. Under this heading, we'll discuss how you will be able to attempt the answers. Well, here goes the likely answer. Margot and Annie face many problems with regard to the way their parents treated them, mainly due to the fact that the parents still treated them like children. The modern parents should understand as the children grow, they have to change their attitude towards them and be more friendly to them rather than strict disparity and distance. If that is created, then the generation gap arises. More friendly, more understanding a parent you are, the better the children and coded relationship between them happens. Okay, now here that difference of generation gap had been there, and the reason the question comes in. So what happens is, whereas both the sisters were adolescents and thus wanted more freedom. They wanted more freedom. Yes, to live in the way that their childish thinking happens. Yes, you can, what you do, you will guide them, but you cannot, dominate, control, and ask them to do exactly what you desire. It has to be a little bit of understanding of their heart, their soul. Is very important in an adolescent period, particularly. Now, what happens in that case? Thus, they wanted more freedom to take their own decision. Now, Annie frequently wrote in her diary of her difficult relationship with her mother and of her ambivalence towards her. She was not being able to be more respectful, more cordial, more friendly with her, of open talks. Generally, the girls should find their best friend in a mother. That never happened. Therefore, the difficulty arose. Annie mentions that her mother did not behave like a mother of a modern world should. In the beginning of her diary entries, she wrote, she had mentioned, she is not a mother to me. How difficult it is, how sarcastic it is for a small child, adolescent child, a girl, to write that much about a mother. So, a bitter hatredness rather happened in her heart that she willfully in her diary wrote like that. Now, that should not be the position or situation for any mother to happen or let it happen. So, we should be careful. Tomorrow, you're tomorrow's mother, tomorrow's father. You should be very careful. Okay? And then she writes later, as she received her diary, Annie felt ashamed of her harsh attitude. The grown child has their thinking, logical thinking power, a little bit of understanding, maturity. With the maturity, she realized no, she shouldn't have been so harsh. Her words should have been a little polite. Yes, of course, she might not have liked some of the decisions. She might not have liked the attitude she has put on to her, but that doesn't mean the mother should be so disrespectfully mentioned. Okay, she felt ashamed rather for that. When she grew up, she came up to an understanding that their differences resulted from misunderstandings. It was more of a misunderstanding, you know. Sometimes your parents tell you, your teachers tell you not to do something, and you feel it is really punishment. No, not that. Because with the maturity, with the experience of their life, they try to guide you so that you do not come across the same difficulties or pains and sorrows that they have had passed through. So it has to be learned, known that way. So do not always be harsh, do not always be too cruel, too vulgar towards your parents, towards your teachers, towards your elders. Always try to understand that they have gone through a long period of experiences of life through which they have learned good, bad, everything. And they try to guide you so that you do not fall in as a prey of that which they have gone through. So she tried to understand her fault as a mother's and saw that she had added unnecessarily to her mother's suffering. Mothers themselves are, great, painful human being, all mothers in the world, because their sacrifice, their anxiety always towards a grown-up child, particularly a girl in India, is taken care of. And mother can only be so conversant rather than the father, though it is a male-dominated society. But now things are changing. And most of the educated mothers have very friendly attitude towards their children, especially the daughter. And then she writes, with the realization, what happens? Annie began to treat her mother with a degree of tolerance and respect. On the other hand, Margot's relationship with their parents is not having any significant mention in the diary. So it's most time Annie has mentioned about her relationship with her mother, with her parents, with her father, Otto Frank, but not much of Margot with her mother. So we understand by this that parents should be more reasonable. They should not be so harsh. They should not be penalizing. They should not try to force upon their desires, their intentions, their way of living life towards their children who are in a modern society with English medium background or British culture, education. At the same time, one should realize and do not forget that we need to learn everything. We need to become a better in the language and pronunciation of the Britishers rather than their own. But we cannot forget at any cost our own culture. Our rich culture is our asset. Therefore, tomorrow when you become good mothers, good fathers, and a presentable, noticeable, useful citizen of India, you should understand, you should be are very social, very understanding, very loving parents. With these, I hope you should be able to describe yourself in own words. Always try to write your answers in your own words. Go for the vocabulary, learn the vocabulary. That is going to help you throughout your life, not only in this examination as such. I believe you all will be able to do better, and all the best wishes goes with you. And do write in a very good handwriting and presentable. Presentation and good handwriting is very big aspect of getting good marks. All the best. Thank you very much. Wait for another video very shortly on this. Carry on watching so that you can get some good tips. If you like, share it with the underprivileged students who want to learn, have the urge to learn, but do not have the resources. Okay? Then by doing that, you'll be having or getting a blessing, and indirectly I will also be. Best wishes again to you. Thank you very much. Do your exams very well. We'll be shortly back again in fourth part of this video, this chapter, this long reading book, The Diary of a Young Girl.